good, all my trader and investor homies? It's your boy Kevin. This is Touchdown Trades. In today's video, we're going to be talking about all things Workhorse stock. Workhorse has had a bad week, to say the least. They didn't get the USPS contract. The stock fell off a cliff. The Stallion had a bad week. We're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. We're going to be breaking down how they move forward post USPS contract defeat. We're also going to be talking about a U.S. congressman who is trying to stop Oshkosh from getting the USPS contract. They say Oshkosh does not deserve the contract. Workhorse executives have came out and said that the USPS contract bidding process is not over, and they're going to do everything that they can to land the contract. We're also going to discuss why, in my opinion, I don't think the USPS contract is really that big of a deal for Workhorse and their future prospects going forward. We're also going to talk about rumors that Workhorse was just a big pump and dump orchestrated by the company who had paid a bunch of big YouTubers to promote the stock. I know a bunch of crazy stuff going on with Workhorse stock, and we're going to be breaking it all down in today's video, so you're going to want to stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We talk about the hottest stocks in the market every single day. If you want to get 2 free stocks valued up to $1,850, use the link in the description to sign up with my broker Webull. They're giving you guys free money. Also, check out the link in the description for Patreon if you want to come trade with me, get my buy and sell alerts in real time, and join the private Discord chat. All right, let's break down all things Workhorse stock. Let's talk about the Stallion. Let's get it. It's been a rough couple of weeks for the Stallion. It's been bad for Workhorse stock. We have been talking about Workhorse stock on this channel for a long time. You guys know I like Workhorse long term, but you also know that I sold out of my position a couple of months ago when we made this strong push up here. I sold out of my position. I was up a couple 100%, and I felt the need to take profit. Anytime I'm up a few 100%, I typically take profit. Now, I was considering adding back to my position, but I felt we were still a little bit extended in this area here, and I never added back. Now, that's not to say that I wouldn't have if we had pulled back down towards the $20 area, but we never got that pullback that I was looking for, and I never added back to my position. We're going to be breaking down what I think about Workhorse long term. We're going to be talking about a U.S. congressman who was trying to block Oshkosh from getting the USPS contract, and Workhorse maybe coming out of the ashes to grab a piece of the contract. And we're also going to talk about whether Workhorse was a big pump and dump scheme. If we take a look at the chart here, Workhorse was setting up really nicely on the daily chart. We had a strong area of support right there that had held for months and months. It looked from all indications like Workhorse was going to get the USPS contract. I thought Workhorse was going to get the USPS contract, and I think most people thought that Workhorse was going to at least get a piece of the contract. However, I did talk about in a lot of my videos that I thought if Workhorse didn't get the contract, $10 per share was a possibility, and we saw the risks in buying a stock that is in a big race like the USPS contract, and when that doesn't go the way of the company, bad things happen. Now, long term, I still believe in Workhorse, and we'll talk about my long-term outlook on Workhorse in just a second. But look how violent this move was, okay? So the USPS contract was announced that it was not going to go to Workhorse right here, and we just fell off a cliff. You had no chance of getting out of your position. Absolutely no chance. We were trading at $28 per share. Less than 5 minutes later, we're trading at 22. Less than 10 minutes later, we're trading at 18. And less than 20 minutes later, we're trading at $12.50 per share. So really, even if you wanted to get out after the news broke, you really didn't have the opportunity to. And the next couple of days, we have just seen some chopping around action. We did have a nice little pop right here due to the fact that there's a congressman trying to block Oshkosh, Fort Oshkosh, from getting the contract. U.S. Congressman from Houston, Texas, Jared Huffman, is trying to stop Oshkosh from getting the USPS contract. And he is a big proponent of electrifying the US fleet. He's a big proponent of EV. And I think the main reason that he is not wanting Ford Oshkosh to get the contract is because Ford Oshkosh's postal service vehicle is hybrid and he wants it to be a total EV solution. Workhorse came out and said that they're going to explore all options with the bidding process, meaning they're not giving up on this process yet. But let's be honest, guys, this congressman, he's not a really big name. He's not a senator. He's just a average congressman, and he's not going to have a lot of pull in order to stop this from going through. Now, that's not to say Workhorse doesn't come out of the ashes and grab a percentage of this contract, but I think the odds of that happening are very, very small. I think Oshkosh gets the contract. Workhorse needs to move on and focus on growing their last mile delivery service, growing the Horsefly drone technology, and growing their Metron fleet management service. Huffman, the congressman from Texas, called this a poke in the eye for the Biden administration, given its recent push for electric vehicles. The White House, USPS representatives, and Oshkosh have yet to speak on the contract announcement, and the odds of getting Workhorse even a small percentage of this contract look more and more unlikely. It is said that if blocking Oshkosh indeed happens, that the procurement process and the bidding process will take another couple of years to find another option. So even if Oshkosh doesn't get it, it's probably not likely that Workhorse even sees any of this contract. That's not to say it doesn't happen. There's a small percentage chance that it does happen, but it's extremely, extremely unlikely. And for those of you who are long-term investors of Workhorse, I still like Workhorse long-term. Let's talk about why I like Workhorse long-term and where I think it's headed over the next couple of months. So the last mile delivery service, I think it's going to grow. I think their truck is a good vehicle. I think the technology is sound, and I think this business grows over the next few years. I like Horsefly. I think the technology is great. I don't think it's there yet. I don't think us as a country, we're ready for drones zipping around delivering packages, but I think it is the future. I think Metron is great. It's going to provide reoccurring revenue to Workhorse. They're not just selling a vehicle for a one-time fee. They're getting reoccurring revenue off every vehicle. That said, I do not think we have seen the bottom yet. Just to be blunt, I don't think we have seen the bottom. I do think we retest these lows down here near $12 per share. But long-term, Workhorse will be just fine. And I think 5 years from now, we see all-time highs. And now, that said, I know it sucks to be a long-term investor in this to happen, but you got to focus on the future. This contract was not the problem solver that a lot of Workhorse investors thought it would be. Sure, it would have been great, but think about how much trouble it would bring on a small growing company. The government, the margins are going to be very small. They would have to figure out how to manufacture all these vehicles. It would bring along with it a ton of growing pains. And in my opinion, I don't think it's that bad at all that Workhorse didn't get the contract. All right, now let's talk about the pump and dump rumors. There has been a lot of speculation, a lot of small name, baby back YouTubers calling out bigger YouTubers, not myself, but other YouTubers in the space, saying that they were paid off by Workhorse to do videos. And that is absolute lies. The YouTuber that they're talking about, I don't know him personally. I follow his channel. I watch his videos all the time. And if he was paid by Workhorse, he would say he was paid by Workhorse. There would be no reason to hide it. And Workhorse was popping at the time. Every YouTuber who's in the finance space was talking about Workhorse, including myself. It blew up. It helped to blow up my channel, helped to blow up a ton of other YouTubers' channels. And there's no reason why Workhorse would have to pay YouTubers to talk about their stock. It was a popular stock, and it has helped to grow a lot of us YouTubers' channels. Workhorse would be stupid to have paid YouTubers because there was no reason. Why would you spend money that you don't need to spend money? It just doesn't make sense. So these YouTubers who are saying it was a pump and dump, that is just clickbait. There was also a short report. Remember the Fuzzy Panda short report that called out a bunch of YouTubers for getting paid by Workhorse? Fuzzy Panda Research, a firm that had a short position in Workhorse, they were a short seller, said that a bunch of YouTubers were getting paid by the company. It wasn't true. It ended up not being true. Workhorse to my knowledge, has not paid any YouTubers. Now that's to my knowledge, has not paid me or any other YouTuber in the space to talk about the company. Workhorse was getting views. It was a growing company. It was in the EV space. We wanted to talk about it because it was an interesting company to talk about, not because we were getting paid. Today, trading at $16 per share, I actually think Workhorse is a pretty good deal at these prices. A market cap of around $2 billion is not too expensive in my opinion. I think this is a company a few years from now that could have a market cap of around $5 billion. We are going to see continued growth in the space. They already have deals with IKEA, they already have UPS trucks that are running off Workhorse, and I think we see continued growth. They make deals with other big delivery companies, and we're going to see more and more Workhorse trucks driving on the street. This is not the end of Workhorse, in my opinion, at all. I think the Stallion survives. It's a pony right now, and it's going to grow into the Stallion. We always knew it was a growth company. It was a growth story, and there's going to be growing pains. There's going to be bumps on the road, and it's going to be hard for Workhorse to grow, and it's hard for any company to grow. So the Workhorse haters out there are getting a laugh right now, but I think the long-term Workhorse investors will get the last laugh, and I think this company will grow into the Stallion. I always like to have a thesis on these companies that I talk about, and my thesis for Workhorse to grow, or my idea of how Workhorse can grow, is their last mile delivery trucks, right? I think the average price for a Workhorse vehicle is $50K, okay? So they sell a bunch of these vehicles. In the future, there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to sell a ton of these vehicles. So they sell a vehicle for $50,000. The fleet, or the company buying a fleet of Workhorse vehicles, then buys the Metron fleet tracking service, where you can track all your vehicles. You can make the routes more efficient, the delivery routes more efficient, so your drivers can hit more deliveries on any given day. It's easy to sell a product when the product solves a problem for the customer. So let's say they charge $200 per vehicle a month for the Metron service. That's recurring revenue. Over the course of 10 years, that the lifetime span of the vehicle, that $200 a month turns into an extra, let's call it $25K. So every vehicle they sell that with this Metron service that they can charge and get recurring revenue with, that turns the average sale price from $50K plus the $25K that they're gonna gain over the lifespan of the vehicle from the Metron fleet management service into a $75,000 vehicle. That's my thesis on how Workhorse can grow as a company, and the stock can rebound from these recent lows. So just to conclude the video, Workhorse was not a pump and dump. In my opinion, there's no evidence to say that Workhorse was a pump and dump, and I think Workhorse, it's going to be a long ride to get back up here to over $40 per share. There's no doubt about it. It's not going to happen overnight unless Workhorse does get some of that contract, which I consider to be very unlikely. I think it's going to take maybe a couple years to get back up there to $40 per share, and that's okay. But in my opinion, this is a buying opportunity, and if we continue to drop, then I'm going to take a hard look at re-engaging and reinvesting in this Workhorse stock, because I think in the long term, it's going to be just fine. So right now, I'm not currently invested. Right now, I'm not looking to invest at $16 per share, but if we do get more of a pullback, I will strongly consider buying some Workhorse stock for a long-term buy and hold. And if I do that, I will make sure to let you guys know. That's going to wrap up the video. If you got something of value from it, consider hitting that like button, consider subscribing. I love all of you guys. I'll catch you in the next video. Until next time, peace.